It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about unusual things that are in New Zealand. Brian and I got to be 40, 50 years old. We got to New Zealand and we were like, I never knew about that. So we're going to be sharing those things with you. Now listen, the number 4 thing that I share with you, I didn't have to tell you, okay? I could have kept it myself, but I know I was brave and I shared it. So let's hop on into the episode and go and find out what those things are, and I'll see you on the other side.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about unusual things in New Zealand. Things that we emigrated over here 12 years ago and we never knew about these things that we're going to tell you about until we got here.
They might not be 100% specific to New Zealand, but this is what we found out when we came to New Zealand.
Yeah, we never knew about them. And literally, you know, I was like 38 and you were 47.
Yep.
When you got here. And how can you go through your life never knowing that these things existed?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I can't wait to share them with you now.
Yep.
But before we jump into the episode, and in case you're new to the channel, we're Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We talk all things travel, New Zealand. At the moment, we're just talking loads about New Zealand, about moving to New Zealand, because that's what we did 12 years ago. And because we can't travel anywhere else.
We have got a big trip planned for next year.
Yeah.
So,
and so we do. We love to talk about travel and, you know, life after 45 and all that. But right now we're concentrating on moving and being in New Zealand, and what better place to be.
Yep.
So if you want to hit the notice, do you want to say your thing about that?
Oh, yes. So if you like the channel, you like what we do, hit the subscribe button. You should get a bing tingy thingy and press the notifications bell and you'll be notified when?
We have another episode. Why did you just do that?
Because you normally say you'll never miss another one of our episodes.
Oh yeah, you'll never miss another one of our... We're so professional, honestly. You've come to the right channel if you want professionalism. Right, so these things we did not know about until we got to New Zealand. Number 1, right, water, drinking rainwater. Brian?
Which is what we're doing right now. Yep, and I'll take a picture of our... I'll put a bit of footage of that and our filter system that we have as well. So yeah, we have a rainwater tank, and people, being a plumber, I came to New Zealand, they said, oh, you've got to go and install a rainwater tank. And I'm going, what is one of those? You know, I've done grey water tanks, which would take water off the roofs and things. And I remember doing a college and a university, and, you know, they were taking the water off the roof and using it for flushing toilets, but not for drinking. So
yeah, we were like, so we bought this rural property. If you know, we built our own house, bought this rural property, and like Bryce said, we were like, oh yeah, well, where do we get our water from? And they said, oh, well, you've got a rainwater tank.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
Yeah, but it's just like, what, you're drinking all the bird poo and all the stuff on the roof, and it's like, well, what actually is on your roof? There's not that much. It's pretty clean when it gets rain. We get quite a lot of rain here in Taranaki, and it's just. You know, you're going to...
So would you never, ever, ever have that in England or in the UK?
Well, it probably never were anywhere else. We were, because, you know, I started my trade down in Cornwall in England, and, you know, the water system, the mains water system was in the villages. It was just about everywhere, wasn't it? You went to St. Morgan, you didn't really know. There might have been farms that were doing stuff like that, but then they tend to put a bore down and take the water out of the ground.
Is it a bit backward?
No, well, it's a good way.
It's eco.
It's very eco.
Yeah,
isn't it,
we're eco. That's one thing we are.
It's a good way to, you know, to cure a problem. Yeah, but the thing is it's either that or spend $20,000 on drilling a bore.
I was going to say, so if you turned up and you said, okay, I don't want to drink water that's coming off my roof. So basically, I'll tell you, because Brian will give you all the technical stuff, but rain falls on your roof and then it comes into a pipe and then goes into this big tank in your ground.
Yeah,
and then
or outer ground.
Yeah, or outer ground. Ours is underneath the ground. And then it pumps back up to the house and you drink it.
Yep.
But it goes through a filter.
Yes,
Right.
but some people don't filter it, you know.
Oh, that's a
and
bit
I was
dodgy.
like, oh.
That's a bit
But yeah,
dodgy.
ours goes through a 1 micron filter, and it's a 20-inch long filter.
Oh, don't start going on about how long your things are, Brian.
Yeah, and it goes through a carbon filter.
Yeah.
And
we're very, very filtered. And it was really funny because Brian's mum and dad turned up. They come over from the UK when we first built our house in New Zealand. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. And your mum, she was not having any of it. She was like, I am not drinking your water. We're like, it's really good. It's gone through a really long filter. And they're like, no. Yeah. And she just went out and bought loads of water.
Well, we had a bottle of water for her in the end because we just didn't want to take any chances, did we?
But yeah.
Oh, and it goes through a UV sterilizer as well. So, that basically changes the DNA of the bugs and stops them breeding. So
yeah,
there you go.
So that was number one. So we were like, we'd never, ever heard of that before. And like I say, Brian's been a plumber all your life and all the, you think you would have been a bit more up to date on that, Brian.
Well, that's it.
Should have done your research.
It's it is very eco, we have leaf slides on there as well. So any leaves and things and even down to insects.
Is there a chance though, Brian, that if a bird did a really like big poo and like it was like, not chunky or anything and it went through, but like thin and it went through your filter and then came and we drank it, how would that work if we drank that?
You've got to look at it as the dilution side of things. So it's diluted that much, you would not notice it. It's 5,000 gallons it's going to go into. And, we all drink out of reservoirs and things like that. And there's, there's birds birds and fish and everything pooing in them and doing all sorts of rotten things in them and everything. So,
I'll tell you what is weird, and then we'll move on to the next thing. What is weird is when we have a fire outside in the summer, the next day when you get a shower, it smells of smoke.
It used to.
No, but it still does.
Well, it shouldn't do that.
Standing in the shower, stinking of smoke.
Yeah, that's coming off your head.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is from the smoke.
No, I can smell it coming out the spout.
No, it doesn't.
It does. No. Your filter's not working.
God.
It's rubbish.
It's rubbish, that, yeah.
All right, number two, the things that we noticed about when we'd never ever heard of before we got to New Zealand was, I'm going to say it in my Kiwi accent, the Fijawa.
Fijawa.
The Fijawa. What the hell is that? We were like, we turned up and, first of all, let me give you some facts.
Okay.
The Fijawa, or the Fijawa, I'm not sure what is the correct pronunciation, is native to Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, and Argentina, and it came to New Zealand in the 1920s.
Yeah, so southern Brazil by the sound of it.
But lived in the UK for 38 years, never ever have I seen a Fijoa, or certainly not tasted one. And they're so big over here, aren't they?
Yeah, most people's garden, we've got them in our garden as well. I remember when I first came to New Zealand, I was working for a company, and the owner of the company, she just brought this big bag in, like a shopping bag full of fruit. And I was like, oh, what's that? And she said, oh, you can have it if you want. I've got too many of them.
Yeah, they're abundant, aren't they?
They're just so, and they're
rampant.
Yeah, rampant. Manic.
Overtaken. But no, do you like them? Don't lie. Don't lie.
I actually do quite like them.
You lying,
No,
Brian.
I do.
You don't. I
had one out of the garden the other day, and I thought actually they were really
Tell the truth.
Yeah, they're just weird. But once you get into them, they're all right. But it's like I don't hate them. But I remember your mum making a.
She's made you a load of Fijoa jam, my mum, and you won't even have it.
But it doesn't work as a jam.
Yes, it does.
No,
it's lovely.
And then she makes a Fijoa crumble, and it's just like, it's like
That's
having.
really nice, a Fijoa crumble.
Is it?
Yeah. It is. For someone asked me the other day, what does a Fijoa taste like? First of all, it's about the size of a kiwi fruit, but without the hair. And it tastes, and someone challenged me on this the other day, so you can tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I said we've got a private community group. If you're moving to New Zealand, quick plug, if you move into New Zealand, go and take the 5-day free guide. And after that, if you want to go further, there's a whole new thing that you can do, and you can join a community group and there's loads of videos in there and things like that. And one of the girls in there said to me, I think Fijoa tastes like sweet and sour, she said. And I said, no, I think it tastes like bubble gum. That's the only way I can describe a Fijoa taste. It tastes like bubble gum. Like Hubba Bubba, if you've ever had a Hubba Bubba.
Yeah.
Or juicy fruit.
Yeah, or synthetic pineapple-y flavour.
Yeah, so try Fijoas. Right, number 3. Oh, this is funny. Tradies,
yeah. This is one of my
go on, Brian. Go, Brian.
Yeah. Come on. So, growing up in the UK and driving around in your van and going to plumbers merchants and builders merchants and things like that, just everyone's like not overly friendly with each other because it's almost like you're in competition with each other, and not a lot of waving going on and all that sort of stuff. And this is my experience of it, and this was mainly down in Cornwall.
No, and
stuff.
you've worked as a plumber in Cornwall, London, and in Bath, haven't you?
Yeah. and everyone sort of like doesn't sort of say hello to each other the same way. They sort of just stay in line and keep themselves to themselves and don't get involved in anything they do. I don't know whether that's they're unsure what they're doing or whatever it is, but, you know, I was used to be, oh, hey mate, how you doing? Like, you know.
Did you though, Brian?
Yes, you did. And then they would just like, sort of like, you know, scuttle out and go off and do the thing. And then when you'd see them in the road, you knew they were a plumber, you're a plumber, and they wouldn't wave back. But here, it's just like you're going on the road and it's just like all the tradies are waving to each other as if like, here we are doing it, like, you know, and getting on with the job and going out and, you know, earning a crust and that sort of, it's a good feeling, like, you know. You know, it's mainly the plumbers will wave to each other, the electricians will waving to each other, you know, depending on what van you're in, and the builders wave to each other. So it's just
I wonder if that's the same like in Auckland or if it's just in Taranaki.
I don't know. It's just, maybe it's just New Plymouth. But,
you know, if it's just like a small town thing. But like you say, when we first moved here, Brian was like, oh, you know that guy down the road that's the plumber? He's like, keeps waving to me. I was like, well, maybe, but it wasn't really shocked,
you see each other
you?
and it's like, all right, mate, how you doing? Like, oh, yeah, good. And, you know, I've been out fishing this week and all that sort of stuff. And that's what they're all...
Maybe they don't feel threatened. Maybe they don't feel like... Because maybe in the UK, it's like there's only a small little patch and you're on my patch. And that's what it felt like,
It always used to feel like that, yeah. Because I always remember that... because you used to have a bacon butty van, didn't you?
Yeah.
And a lot of tradies would come in, like, you know, and they wouldn't really banter off each other. The people they were with, weren't they? It was not like...
I know, thinking about it, they knew I was married to you.
Yeah.
So basically, like Brian said, I had this, but like a big fancy, a burger wagon and the serves
I'll stick a picture of it. It's a pretty
I say
cool
fancy
thing.
because it was fancy, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And we designed it together and everything. And, it was set up for all the tradies in the middle of Bath, and they'd all come in and, you know, have their bacon butties and things. And they knew I was married to you and you were a plumber. So, but never one of them said, you know...
Who's that idiot you're married to?
Yeah. They're just like, so has he never heard of pajamas? What?
Yeah, what? Why is he going to New Zealand?
But no, he's like, yeah. And everyone was so lovely, so friendly. And you'd walk into town, you'd walk into like the ski resort, whatever, wherever you were going, supermarket, and they'd be like, howdy. You'd get on the bus and they'd be like, howdy, good morning.
Yeah, hello.
Like, you know, hello. You know, and we were like, when we get home, when we go back to England, we're going to be like that. Do you remember? Yeah. And we went back and we were living in Cornwall and we were just such a couple of bloody tossers because everywhere we went, we were like, morning.
It worked for about a week, didn't it? But then people would just look at you as if like, what are you saying good morning to me for? I'm not saying the English are horrible or anything. No, far from it.
They don't go around saying good morning to each other anyway. They certainly didn't then.
No, but they just, you're walking along the street. It's almost like you go for a walk on the cliffs and they're frightened that you've said hello to them as if like you're going to talk to them. It's like, well, no, we're just saying good morning.
I can't be doing with it when people do that. You know, even here sometimes you're like, you see people walking towards you and you're like, morning. And they're just like, they look as if like, oh, you know, what are you saying good morning to me for? It's like, come on, you know. Anyway, so that's just a little deviation there. Right. Oh, I'm not going to say this one. I'm going to save that one. I'll tell you that in a minute it was about the rugby.
Oh, with the rugby.
Yeah. Shall I just say it?
If you want. I thought, is that...
All right, well, I'll tell you about... Oh, no, let me just tell you about the rugby then. Okay, because this is... you're just going to... I know that you're going to go, what? You know, what are you on about, right? But I'm going to be really honest with you here. And... Oh, God. Right, so before we came to New Zealand, like, you've got to remember that you're not into rugby, so don't even be coming at me and going, oh, you should have known about that.
No, I'm not into rugby. I mean, that's a hard thing coming to New Zealand and not being into rugby. You know, I remember I have watched a few games of rugby, but not that many. Mainly it's World Cup finals I'll watch and things like that. So, you know, especially one when England won.
So you're a footy guy, aren't you? So that's what, you know, and I know a lot about football, I think. You know, I know quite a lot about football. But like I say, rugby, I didn't. And I don't have to share this with you. So, you know, look, I didn't have to tell you this, but I'm telling you because it was one of the things, right? So Brian gets a job when we were in the UK and we were emigrating to New Zealand. He gets offered a job from this guy in Taranaki to be a plumber, right? So if you haven't seen that episode, go and watch being an immigrant plumber in New Zealand, and it will tell you all about Brian's story. But a long story short, this guy from New Plymouth offered Brian a job, and we were just ecstatic, weren't we? Obviously,
it was our ticket then to
we were like,
to New Zealand residency. Yeah.
So Brian, you bought him a case of beer, and he said to me,
a couple of cases.
Yeah, a couple of cases of beer, and we sent it over to New Zealand. You know, we had it delivered, just as a way of saying thank you. But as an extra, Brian said, I'm going to buy him. So we lived in Bath in the UK, which has got a big rugby team.
Famous rugby team.
Is it famous?
Yeah,
right,
it's
okay.
good.
So it's got a big... I knew that we had a big rugby team in Bath. Obviously, I lived there and the rugby stadium was there and everything like that. So is that what it's called, stadium? Pitch? Yeah, so that's what... I knew that. So...
it was actually the Rec, I think it is, in Bath.
Brian was off to work that day and he said, right, do me a favour, go into town and buy a rugby shirt and I'm going to send it over to New Zealand and give it to this guy as a thank you present, right? So I went into town and I went into the top sports shop in Bath. And that, you know, when you walk into a sports shop and they're all like, you know, they're all ripped, aren't they? And, you know, they've just like got their little silky bloody shirt things on that they wear. So I felt a bit intimidated anyway, and I was feeling a bit nervous because I don't really go in sports shops. And I went over to the people, to the guys that were working there, and I said, oh, hi. I said, what it is we're moving to New Zealand, and I just wondered, I mean, I don't know if New Zealand have got a rugby team, and they just looked at me and they went, sorry? Like, you know? Because I was thinking, why are you sending a rugby shirt over to someone in New Zealand? What if they don't even play rugby over there? That is really, and I'm being honest, and this guy just pissed himself laughing, basically.
What he would do, wouldn't he?
Did.
Like, you know?
He just cracked up and he went, oh, I'm really sorry. He goes, but yeah, New Zealand have got a very famous rugby team. They're called the All Blacks. I was like, oh, okay. Well, anyway, we're moving there and, you know, so there you go. So it was one of those things that I didn't know about until I got to New Zealand. And that was I've gone all red now. It was one of those lessons that it was just, I was made... told there and then that New Zealand have a rugby team. So.
And for those of you in the States and anywhere else, New Zealand has got a very big rugby team.
Yeah, well, everyone would know that now. And I can't believe that. Can you imagine saying to someone, do you not know what the New Zealand rugby team is? But if you're not into rugby, how would you know that?
Yeah, but you wouldn't know that, yeah.
You know, it's like saying, I don't know, Africa got a football team or tennis team or what?
Well, South Africa
team.
don't have a rugby team.
Yeah, shut up. I bet they do, don't they?
Of the world champions, yeah.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought Liverpool were. You told me Liverpool were. Right, okay. Yeah. Shush, bye. Shush. Anyway, now it's going to make you look silly, this one.
Okay.
Tell the people out there, tell them on the podcast about what you thought about the rural home numbers when you came to New Zealand.
So when you're actually, you come to New Zealand and, being from the UK, it was just, everything was street numbers. And I didn't, you never really, a property was whatever the name of it or wherever it was. But I came to New Zealand and I'm looking at this number and it's 1,520. And I'm thinking, shit, there's a lot of houses on that road. And I'm going out into the middle of nowhere thinking, where on earth is there going to be 1,500 houses here? You just like, and you're driving along.
I'm laughing because you need to explain what it is.
So that you get the number that we're at, it's 600 and whatever it is. So that means that you're 650 meters up the road. And that's sorry, not 650, it's 6,500. So 6.5K up the road.
Right, yeah.
And that's what it would mean.
Yeah.
So, you're, so this one I was going to was 1,500. So it was 15K up the road.
Right, yeah. From the main road. That's how they work it out, isn't it? So when you're in rural areas, from the main road, like Bryce said, if you live up, Taranaki Street, it's like, okay, 1752 Taranaki Street. And it means you're in rural areas. Yeah.
So if you're number 252...
but does that count in busy areas?
No.
What's the word I'm looking for?
So,
town?
In urban areas.
Urban, that's it.
Is it urban? Yeah.
No. Yeah, urban and rural.
Yeah. I was thinking of suburban. So anything rural is just done by the Ks from the start of the road. So they just take a zero off. And so, if you're 250, you're 2.5K or 2,500 meters up the road.
Like my grandma, she lived in the country and she's not in the country, but she's on the outskirts of Preston in Lancashire. And she's like 125 Powie Road, and it was like, that was... Yeah. Because she was a house 125, like you said.
And that's what it was.
Just made me laugh, that story when you said you're driving along. It's like, where's the 1,000 houses then?
Honestly, I looked at it and it's like, there's going to be a lot of houses in a minute. It's going to be a big, subdivision or something. And it's just like, and then, it's not until you drive past it and you think, oh no, There it is. And it's just one, it can only be 3 houses on the road or something because it's all farms.
Tell us, will you? I mean, maybe that's the same in the...
It might well be.
It's not the same
all
in the
over,
UK.
but I've never seen it anywhere else,
We never knew about it, but maybe it is in your part of the world. So if you do live in a part of the world...
Yeah, but the thing is, when we were in Canada...
Just let us know.
You didn't... nothing ever came to the house, did it?
No,
here you go. It used to go to like a mail area with all the post boxes in one place.
Maybe that's because it's too snowy to get up the hill, though, in Canada.
No, I just think they do that because it's a cheaper way of doing it. So then you just, when you're driving into town, you stop in at the mail place and you've got your key and you open up your mailbox, don't you?
If you haven't seen our video about why we chose New Zealand over Canada, go and watch that because that's a great video to watch.
Yep.
But yeah, so right, we're running out of time. So the last two are lemon trees.
Yeah.
Go on. Because you're saying about banana trees at the table. I've never seen a banana tree.
So, growing, we're in Taranaki, we're on the North Island. So it's, the sort of the temperatures you get in the summer are from around about 22 degrees up to 30 degrees centigrade, this is. And in the winter, it kind of hovers around about, 4 or 5 degrees at night. This is at the cold times, and around about 14 or 15 in the day. So it's always in double figures. But I was just so surprised when I came to New Zealand. I was working in people's houses and I was thinking, my God, there's lemon trees.
I can smell lemon.
Yeah, look. Yeah. Lemon and lime trees in the garden, and like hundreds of lemons on them.
Yeah.
Big,
that is a
trees.
big thing.
Yeah.
And
even I've worked in places...
so where did you think they'd come from then? Sorry, go on.
No, it's not where they came from. I just didn't think, coming from the UK, you never see a lemon tree in a garden, do you?
No, you
don't. You might do in the odd place.
I've never seen a lemon tree.
Somewhere in the depths of Cornwall where it's very sheltered. Maybe
I thought they grew in the ground.
Yeah, they're always in hot houses, aren't they? In greenhouses and things with the peanuts.
Yeah. And the cotton.
Yeah.
I still don't know where cotton comes from. Yeah, anyway, so...
it's not cheap.
No, it's not. But yeah, just like the lemon trees. And the other thing as well is they're really easy to grow. We're not gardeners.
No, anything will really
Mind
grow.
you, what am I saying?
But they don't really get hit by the frost. Obviously, the further inland you go, we're quite coastal where we are. But you just, everywhere around New Plymouth, there's
we
lemon
have
trees.
Got a lemon tree there.
We've got a lemon tree, but the sheep ate the lime tree.
How many lemons have we had off our lemon tree?
We've had about 4 because the sheep keep eating it.
In 10 years that we've been here, we've had 4 lemons. So it's proved very profitable.
It's just, But that's what they say in New Zealand. If you want to leave an investment for your grandkids, is plant lime trees.
What's the deal with the cost of limes in New Zealand?
I don't know, because it's like $40 a kilo. Yeah. It's just like, what?
I know. That's that's one thing you can get cheap in the UK. Limes, 22p, and you come over here and they were, Bri. They were cheap. Yeah, they're cheap in. Well, how does that work there? Anyway,
they grow them in Portugal, Spain, and Portugal. I think a lot of limes are grown. Yeah.
So yeah, it was one of those things that you came and you saw like people, and I remember
banana trees. I've seen banana. Yes.
Where? Where have you ever seen a banana tree?
Well, Angie's got banana trees. Your friend Angie.
No,
she has a banana tree.
Yeah, but they've got banana leaves. But I don't see bunches of bananas growing from them.
Yeah, I've seen them down in Oakura. Yeah. I'm not lying. Why would I lie?
Okay, so you've actually seen a bunch of bananas growing from the tree?
Yep.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Yep. Well, I haven't. So there you go, 50. I'm
there
50 and I've never seen a banana.
Just found that out now.
I've never seen a banana in... Okay, is that true, Brian?
It's the truth.
All right, okay. So yeah, it was, and also avocado trees. I remember my sister phoning me, anyway, the time's going, but she phoned me in the UK when we were thinking of moving over to New Zealand. She's like, please come, you can grow avocados in your garden. And that was like,
yeah, that's the other thing is avocado. We've got a big avocado tree. We have feijoas, avocados, lemons, limes, a lime stick.
Well, it's just like a little twig like that, our lime tree.
That's chewed.
Yeah. But yeah, all those fruits. So that was a really nice surprise, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
All right, so should we wrap up there because it's been 26 minutes now?
Yep.
We were going to say about the macwood. Did you want to say about that?
Yeah, macrocarpa wood. I didn't know what macrocarpa wood was. I came here and you're wandering around at night and just having a walk around with the dog or something. You can smell the smell in the winter. Everyone's burning macrocarpa, which it's not a native tree to New Zealand. It's It's more native to California, I believe. It's a cypress tree. I can't remember the actual name of the cypress tree, but
I've never heard of that. Never heard of it.
It grows like crazy here. It really does, and it's mainly used for firewood and things like that. You know, so
and it smells. It's got a real distinct
It's got a lovely smell to it.
hasn't it?
It really has. Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, it's just one of those things where like the wood person comes and goes, oh, do you want a load of pine or mac? And we were like, what's mac? You know,
because pine will burn a lot hotter and quicker, so they tend to like the mac because it burns slower, so you can leave it in overnight. So and get a couple of big logs of it and stick it in your wood burner, and it'll still stay in. Yeah.
Okay, peeps. So that's it. That's what we've got for you.
Yep.
It went on a bit longer than we were expecting, but we hope you enjoyed that about the unusual things in New Zealand.
Unusual to us in New Zealand, but anyone from here would be like, oh yeah, well, it's always been like that here.
Yeah, but of course, that's the thing.
We didn't talk about the giant fern trees.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's another story. But yeah, right. So we're off now. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go and look for some banana trees down in our corner and see if you're right.
I'm gonna show you them.
But if you enjoyed the show, please, it really helps us out. If you like or comment, subscribe would be even better.
So hit the subscribe button and keep doing that because lots of people do it. I don't know what the point in that, but hit the subscribe button.
Just down there.
It's just down there somewhere.
Okay, and I'll stop. Okay, we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, kick ass, stay strong. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him.
Mother thanks you.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello.